Now this is almost, borderline freaking ridiculous. Actually, no, it is. It really is. Not almost, not kind of. It is ridiculous. Zero Hedge, but authored by Eric Peters via ericpetersautos.com. They want to get the self-driving car stuff passed. So while we're all focused on hurricanes and, recently they've quickly passed a law almost unanimously. And it's kind of shocking what it allows with these self-driving cars. And he says, whenever Congress does something unanimously, or nearly so, you can rest assured it's in their interests, not ours. The USA Patriot Act comes to mind. Another is the Safely Ensuring Lives Future Deployment and Research in Vehicle Evolution Act, aka the Self-Drive Act, which was rubber stamped through Congress the other day. This is the law that exempts automated cars from the safety requirements that apply to autonomous cars, the ones we drive. That is the cars which are independent of government control and controlled by us. Because you do understand that as self-driving cars come out and the government needs to stop you, they're going to be able to have a little kill switch where they can stop your car. Again, cop turns his lights on, sends a signal to your car, hey, you're being pulled over, and it pulls over automatically. Now, naturally, at face value, that doesn't sound bad at all. It sounds like a good idea, right? You can't run from the police anymore. There's no more high-speed chases, saving lives. Yeah. But then there's always the other side. Where there's good, there's evil. What if you want to leave your house to go to a protest, and you get in your self-driving car, and it gets just out of the driveway and shuts off, and there's an error, and there's a problem. And you don't know. You take it to the shop, and we've looked it over. There's nothing here. It looks fine. It's driving. If you drove here fine today. What were you doing? Well, I was on my way to a protest about such. Oh, remember when people would get detained at the airport, you can't get on a flight. You're on the no-fly list. What? You sure it's the right person? That's absolutely you. Have any reason why you think you might be on the? Well, no, I haven't done anything wrong. I was about to go speak at a convention. What kind of stuff? Well, about politics, and in particular our president. Oh, that'll do it. The guy tells him that'll do it. Can't fly. And how do I get off the list? We don't know. There's no one to query to say, hey, I think you wrongly put me on the list. Even though they know exactly what they were doing. How do I get off the list? Well, that's a little harder. We don't know. So be rest assured, when the self-driving cars come to town, and you're a big-time protester, maybe an Alex Jones or something like that. Oh, breaking news, a car crash today in Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas. Alex Jones' radio show host was in it and did not survive. You know it's coming, right? Just as the Patriot Act was written not to fight terrorism, but to make it easier for government to terrorize us by circumventing or simply ignoring the Bill of Rights, same operating principle behind both. There is irony and malevolence here. Irony because the same government that endlessly croons about safety when it suits is willing to back burner safety when it suits. If a car company dared to even suggest that it might be a good idea to install airbag off switches in new cars, and it would be a very good idea if safety is a concern, given how dangerous airbags are, not can be, but are, that company would be the focus of great abuse, if not threatened prosecution. Meanwhile, the Self-Drive Act will exempt automated cars from the necessity, under laws that apply to autonomous cars, of having things like steering wheels and brake pedals and other controls by which a human might intervene to save himself in the event the automated car makes a mistake. What if the computer's fried and it just, let's go speeding up now. Hey, no, I'd like to stop. Remember Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall. He gets in the little Johnny cab. The guys are chasing him, trying to kill him. He jumps in the cab. It's an automated car. Drive! Drive! I need a destination. Drive anywhere. Just go anywhere. I need a destination. He finally beats the thing up and takes the control and takes off. Not this time, Arnold. There won't be any controls. It is presumed automated cars will never make a mistake, that their systems and technology are immune to defects, wear and tear, and so forth. You know, like airbags are. It's not very safe, and yet it slid through Congress like crap through a goose. It's worth noting that no one is suggesting commercial airliners, which already have the ability to fly themselves, including takeoff and landing, do so without human pilots standing by to step in just in case. Can you get my drink off my golf cart? Thank you. Got a little chicken, some veggies up in the house. Didn't even know that was coming. Much less have cockpit controls removed and the now ex-pilots told to go watch a movie back in coach. I'm going to go ahead and pause this so I can eat for a minute. All right, if you're actually wondering what was that, I was just eating. It was actually chicken, carrots, onion, potatoes. But when you say chicken, you have to smack your lips and go, chicken. Anytime anyone asks you about that, like, what would you have for lunch? You say, if it's chicken, you say, chicken. Like that. Ghetto-fied. Why? When I was probably, 18 or 19, 20 years old, somewhere around there, I worked at a water softener company. I'm going to say maybe for a year. And there was a Hardee's, downtown Tampa area, Ybor City. I might even still be there. I forget. I don't know if it's there or not. And they had some kind of new chicken sandwich thing on the menu. So I pull in there. I'm ready to get going to like Orlando or somewhere to do some job. And can I help you? Now, around that area is kind of ghetto, just to FYI. So naturally, someone from the ghetto working there would be a good assumption. Can I help you? Really enthused, real psyched. What comes with that new chicken sandwich you guys have? Chicken. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds excellent. Does it come with any vegetables? Lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise? Lettuce and tomato. So that was the answer I got. So now automatically, if anybody says anything about chicken in my family, what would you guys have last night? Chicken. When I'm at lunch with Frank, chicken. He knows the story too. And we must make this story get out to the masses. It's so important. So anytime anybody in your family, friends refers to chicken, you got to tell them the story. And then tell them, now that you know the story, going forward, anytime you have to say the word chicken, you have to go, chicken. Like that. That's a true story, by the way. I would not make that up. And I got some stories from back in the day, boy. Some of them pretty funny. So anyways, why is it acceptable to do exactly that with machines that are more dangerous en masse than airliners simply by dint of numbers? There are only a few thousand airliners flying on any given day. How many millions of cars are out there? And the cars, the automated ones of the future, will not be subject to the strict FAA-style inspection and maintenance protocols that apply to airliners because it's simply not feasible, leaving aside the money, to have millions of cars brought into a facility for close examination of all their critical bits and pieces, preemptively replacing many of them according to a specific time/mileage schedule as a necessary precaution against the inevitably increasing risk of a failure based on wear and tear. No one mentions this fact, nor the fact that without some way for a human driver to assume control of the automated car when an inevitable failure occurs, Whether from wear and tear or a defect or some other reason, the human will be utterly powerless to do anything to save him or herself. And we will have no choice but to get in and hope for the best, because vehicle automation will not be a matter of choice. Stevie Wonder can see what's coming. Automated car technology will be mandated. The Self-Drive Act, being the preparatory groundwork, it standardizes things at the federal level, gives the federal regulation apparatus the power to nudge. And malevolence? Well, there is the obvious malice of exposing people to a known risk of a piece with the airbags, the deliberate thwarting of any way to reduce that risk, as by not allowing the car companies to install airbag off switches, and by bypassing a law that will permit manufacturers of automated cars to build them without any controls, which could be used to control them in the event that they go haywire and you need to stop or turn, which they will. Just like your smartphone or PC, technology is not infallible. Things wear out and break down. Exposure to heat and cold, to moisture and potholes jarring the works. What works fine today may not tomorrow, and one day will not work fine. What then? Well, but there is a layer of malice, a deeper cut. Leaving aside the outright reckless disregard for our safety, the Self-Drive Act, like the USA Patriot Act, is an outright attack upon ourselves, upon our right to not be herded and tracked like the residents of an ant farm. Has anyone stopped to think about the information an automated car would collect and store and transmit? It would know, for instance, when you go to work each day and when you come home, where you stopped along the way and for how long, the route you took, and whether you took a different route last Thursday. It would, in brief, know every last detail about every movement you made that wasn't made on foot. It would probably know who is in the car, too. There may be audio and video recording. We know this already happened with smartphones and even smart home appliances such as smart TVs that listen into our conversations and transmit them to, well, somewhere. The authors and promoters of the Self-Drive Act cross their hearts and hope to die that there will be privacy safeguards, that we have nothing to worry about. 3 words ought to throw water on that. USA Patriot Act. How has that one been working out for everybody? We were assured of its innocuousness as well. No worries, it was all for our, yes, safety and security. It is, of course, too late now, as before. The thing got passed hurriedly and with very little media coverage, which might have made a difference, and which probably explains the lack of media coverage. When something important to them needs to get done, it gets done. Perhaps the moms will say something. The ones who marinate in safety, who have made it the driving principle of our beaten down, submit and obey American culture, but probably not, because safety has never been the issue, just the window dressing, the excuse to achieve the true objective, which by now, even Stevie Wonder can see. Take care.